Hey everybody, it's GombletX, and I am back from MagicCon Vegas. I'm also incredibly jet-lagged, so we're not going to be doing any very strategic stuff today. We're not playing a draft, not playing a sealed. We'll get back to all that tomorrow. For now, I want to show off all of the goodies that I got at MagicCon Vegas. So if you're just here to see that, I'll do that in just a moment. But if you want to hear about how I did playing a bunch of Duskmorn competitive seal, the 100K, and the Pro Tour qualifier. I'll have that all at the very end of the video so that anybody who just wants to see the product and see the pack openings can see that right away. So, without further ado, let's get into the promos to start things off. So I got the Premium Weekend badge. I'm not 100% sure what comes with that versus other stuff, but with the Premium Weekend badge, we got this MagicCon stamped playmat here. I mean, it's a playmat. Everybody's got a million of them. Not the coolest promo ever, because, again, everybody has probably way too many playmats if they play a lot of paper events. But the promo cards were pretty nice this time around. There were 2 copies of Counterspell, full art, and foil. This is for Premium Weekend. If you got any of the smaller badges, even like just a one-day Sunday badge, nothing other special than that, you could get 1 non-foil Counterspell, and I think it just kind of stacks up with the better badge you get. So Premium Weekend is like 2 foil Counterspells. If you got something better than this, you probably got even more. But those are fine promos. I'm just going to throw them in my trade binder, trade them into stuff that I like. But this one is also a Counterspell. The 3rd copy of Counterspell that you get, well, at least that I got, it's my 3rd copy, but everybody gets 1 copy of this, is the Doctor Strange Counterspell. Really, really cool one. Super happy to see that this was given to people with any badge as well. So, yeah, this is just a sweet, sweet one here. Obviously, if you like the Marvel stuff, if you like Universes Beyond stuff in general, you're going to absolutely love this. And even if you don't, this is probably going to be some decent value here, as it's going to be a really cool alternate artwork for the Counterspell here, a full art Doctor Strange Counterspell. Technically, not full art, like no text like the other ones, but you can see the art bleeding through the text box and everything, which is quite nice there at the bottom. Really, really cool promo. Super surprised with this one and very excited about it because I got my badges way ahead of time to make sure that I got them before the event sold out, because MagicCon Vegas always sells out by the time the event runs. So I had no idea this was going to be a thing, because the time I bought the badges, they hadn't even announced that any Marvel cards were going to be made this year. They didn't even announce the secret layers yet. We just knew about the sets coming in 2025, so was very excited to get literally the first Marvel card that you can physically get, because this came out just before the secret layers that are coming out like next week. So really, really cool stuff. Super excited about that. I know there's a lot of controversy about Universes Beyond right now, since they did announce that they're going to be doing like 3 Universes Beyond sets next year, and they're all going into standard and everything like that. But I still think this is just genuinely, this kind of Universes Beyond stuff is genuinely just cool for everybody. Just a little promo there. Next up, this was something specific to Premium Weekend, or better, I think. And this is a full, like, comic with the secret layer artwork here and the abilities and everything. So this is the Storm. I don't know if you could get every character that was in the Marvel secret layers, get a comic for all of them, but I know there were people who got Wolverine, so there's at least a Storm and a Wolverine promo comic, and this is just another really, really, really cool additional promo here that I had no idea about, again, because I got the badge super early, and I don't think they told people about these until the event. And the other thing that's cool about this one, of course, I got the Premium Weekend badge. If you got a normal badge, you would have felt some fear of missing out here. You would have been left out, but you could get these through alternate means. I don't know all the different ways, but I know for sure that if you went and watched the secret layer panel where they talked about the design of the Marvel secret layer, they handed out tickets at the end that you could then go get one of these. You could get your Storm or your Wolverine promo comic, so you could get it absolutely, well, not absolutely for free. You had to pay to show up at the MagicCon, but you could get it by watching a panel that's free after you have the badge. So cool promo there. And they do a lot of handouts like that at MagicCons, where if you go watch a panel, maybe they're going to throw some booster packs at you or a commander deck or something. If you go to the Creator Central and go hang out with your favorite creators, then sometimes they'll hand out packs and stuff like that. And that is what 2 of the packs I'll be opening up today are. These were just leaving the event Sunday night. They had somebody up front that just had a bunch of March Machine set boosters that was just handing them out to everybody leaving, just like, hey, free packs. Grab some on your way out, take them home. So March Machine set boosters, I will be opening these up in just a moment. They are set boosters, not draft boosters, so I can't draft with them. So I'm not worried about leaving them sealed. What I am worried about leaving sealed is what I won. We've got 1 play booster box of Duskmourn House of Horror and 2 play booster boxes of Duskmourn House of Horror. So I will not be opening these up because I can actually draft them with friends, but I did want to mention that's part of the MagicCon Vegas haul, and we'll get into how I won those in a little bit when I talk about the sealed events. But then these also came with my premium weekend badge. We have 3 collector boosters, 2 Bloomborough and 1 Duskmourn House of Horror. So that's the haul today. 3 really cool promo cards, the incredible promo comic, and the winnings, the 2 booster boxes of Duskmourn House of Horror. But let's open up these booster packs now for anybody who wants to see what goodies I get in the packs that you can't draft. So no point to keep them sealed unless I just want to sell them off individually. I'd rather have the fun of opening them and see what kind of goodies I get. Maybe build a cool commander deck out of something I get in here. So without further ado, we are finally on to the pack opening. We'll start off with the set boosters, the less exciting cards. 2 packs of March of the Machine. Really cool set though, really cool format, a lot of great rares. They're going to be big, splashy cards for Commander, which is the only constructed format I really play. And as a limited player, I'm going to go over every card. I'm not going to skip way to the back. I mean, we only have 5 packs to go through. So we have Scoured Barrams, Scroll Shift, Searing Barb, Final Flourish, Phyrexian Awakening, Corruption of Tawashi, Notvold Hermits, Invasion of Vryn, one of these battles. Flip side is the Overloaded Mage Ring. An Invasion of Muragonda. I guess this is a set booster. I was going to say, I thought there was only 1 battle per pack that was in the draft booster packs of the format. Furia, Judge of Valor, is our guaranteed alt-art legend you get in every one of these packs. And our rare is Ozolith the Shattered Spire. Actually a pretty good rare to open up if I remember correctly. Maybe not anymore, but definitely when the set was first out, this was a very popular card that had a decent price tag to it. A lot of people love their +1/+1 counter decks. This is a great card for those decks. It's hardened scales plus the activated ability to start putting more counters on the board. Plus it has cycling too. So I don't know, really, really good, actually, rare to open up here. We also got a foil Invasion of Urgamon. So we got 3 battles in 1 pack. Kind of cute. Definitely the unique mechanic of the format, so nice to open up multiple cards of that mechanic. For our second March Machine set booster, see if we can open up something quite as good as that. Again, I could be wrong. I'm never super up to date on card prices, but I know Ozolith used to be pretty decent value. Let's see what we got here. Thornwood Falls, Overgrown Pest, Kite Sail, Fertilid's Favor, Xerex Strobe Knight, Marshal of Zalfir, Zalfir and Landsearch, 6 start to a blue-white Knights deck, Aetherblade Agent, Invasion of Moag. Our guaranteed legend is Shauna, Sisei's Legacy. And our rare is Invasion of Ikoria. Nice battle rare here. This was one of the really sweet ones if you could manage to flip this thing. Pretty good front half too. Tutor out whatever creature you want, but the flip side there, Zalortha, Apex of Ikoria, 8/8 reach, and all of your non-human creatures can assign combat damage as though they weren't blocked, so you're just guaranteed to hit your opponent for however much power you have on board. Can really finish people off. Super fun rare. And then we've got our foil Realm Breaker's Grasp. Solid little draft removal spell. Actually, really cool token there. Phyrexian Hydra. This was from the flip version, the flip worm coil engine thingy. When you flipped to the back side, you got like 2 reach lifelink worms when it died. All right, cool stuff there, but I imagine not quite as cool as what we can get out of some collector boosters. So we'll start with the Bloomburrow since we've got 2 of them, but obviously collector boosters are sweet. Collector boosters are also very tough to open. Wow. As you can tell, I don't buy booster packs ever, so I am not used to how tough these things are to open. I think I've only opened collector boosters a long time ago when Wizards was sending a bunch of creators some collector boosters to open up, so I opened up some free collector boosters I got from Wizards, or promotional boosters, whatever you want to call them. But since then, it's been a long time. I did not realize they had a different booster pack kind. That's all tough to open. It's very sturdy. So, cool thing about collector boosters, obviously these are not very valuable, but as a limited player, tokens are always very useful. So, getting a double-sided foil token, kind of sweet. I don't think I'll be drafting too much more Bloomburrow, because obviously local game stores all up on Duskmourn now, then it's going to be Foundations and everything, but if they ever do any flashback drafts, it'd be a very useful token to have. Oh, wow. We just get right into it with these collector boosters, don't we? That is a foil alt art Azure Beastbinder. Very, oh my god, very cool. Oh, Ant Queen's in this set? Ant Queen is such a nostalgic card for me. Initially printed in M20, right? No, not M20, M10. I'm so old. Initially printed in M10, the first of the M-style core sets. I had a standard token deck that used Ant Queen and Garruk Wildspeaker, so you made a bunch of these insects, and then you used the Overrun ability, give them all +3/+3 trample, and beat down. Obviously, I was pretty young at the time, so it wasn't the most competitive deck ever, but it was very fun and super nostalgic for me. I mean, Llanowar was in standard, so you could ramp into it. That's super cool that that Ant Queen is here. A Bloomburrow version of Ant Queen. Very, very nice. Now there's Wick, the World Mind. Nice alt art of that. Not a foil or anything. Steel Burr Champion, the extended art version there. That's 2 cards from Bloomburrow Commander now, so that's cool too that we can get some of the Commander cards, because I didn't buy any of the Bloomburrow Commander decks. This would be my only way to get them. Oh, wow. That's actually really strong. Whenever an opponent casts a non-creature spell, put a counter on that thing, and you can offspring it and have 2 copies of it. Phineas Ace Archer. Foil Mountain. Little hard to tell on this one on camera, but it is foil. Foil Mudflat Village. Foil Spellgyre. Hazel's Nocturne. Splash Portal. Treetop Sentries. Glide Dive Duo, and these are all foils, by the way. All the commons and uncommons are going to be foils in these packs. Night Whirl Hermit. Frilled Spark Shooter. And a Gateblade Assassin. So I guess I went backwards in the pack accidentally. They put the cool stuff up front and then the weak stuff in the back on these. So probably not a super good value pack or a super exciting pack for a lot of people, but I'm genuinely quite pumped about this Ant Queen. Of all the things, this is probably like a $1 alt art, but god, that is an iconic card for me. So pretty cool to open that up in a booster pack. That's going to be a keeper for me for sure. All right, I guess I'll go backwards this time. So that I saved the rares for last. But I will get the promo out of the way. Or the token. Starscape Cleric Offspring token, and a squirrel on the other side. Alright, so we're going backwards, so we're just going to flip up from the back here. Rabbit Response. Definitely kills a lot of people out of nowhere in draft. Whiskerquill Scribe. Bellowing Crier. Corpseberry Cultivator. This is difficult. What if I just... Alright, that's better. Druid of the Spade. Feed the Cycle. Parting Gust. Flame Cash Gecko. For 15% or more on your car insurance. Hunter's Talent. And then foil Swamp. I believe we get to the rares here. Oh yeah, foil Helga, Skittish Seer. Fun commander there. So nice card to open as basically only a commander player in paper. Ooh. Full art or extended art, Miss Bumbleflower. One of the commanders. It's like an alt art, full art version. It's like a very cool card. Now an Emberheart Challenger with the alt art. This was seeing some play at Worlds and MagicCon Vegas up on the big stage. So great aggressive card for red-green, mono-red. Lots of standard decks run the Emberheart Challenger, so could be decent little bit of value there. Ooh, all right. We got one of the Imagine Critters Planeswalker things. Oh wait, no, this isn't even that. This is the RAL that's actually in the format. Okay. Still cool. Still cool. A full art version of him, or I mean, I guess it's a Planeswalker. It's always full art, but extended art version or something. Pretty cool. All right, sorry for the little pause there, but we almost had a nightmare scenario. This is how you know I'm very jet lagged. My laptop was not even plugged in. I work off of a laptop that I hook up into my monitor here. And obviously I took it with me to Vegas so I could edit videos over there. Yeah, laptop wasn't even plugged in and it almost died mid-recording, and then the file would have been dead and all those openings would not have been seen. So I had to get that fixed real quick. That's what the little error sound was. So I don't know exactly where we were at, but we are plugged in now, so we're not going to lose this footage. Let's move on from RAL to the final card. Whoo! I don't think this sees any standard play, so it's probably not worth much. But again, I don't know a lot about Constructed. I'm all about that draft and sealed, so this might be some value, but it's very cool nonetheless. It's a super powerful limited card, and getting the alt art foil is super fancy. Very cool packs there. And last but not least for the pack opening, we have Duskmourn House of Horror Collector Booster here. Start things off with the incredibly useful Manifest foil token. The other side, ooh, is Primo the Indivisible. Much more specific token for, I forgot her name, Zimone. Yeah, Zimone only. But the Manifest token, very useful. Alright, let's flip this pack around. Do the commons and uncommons first. And see what the final cards we opened up here are. That's money. Let me undo that. I guess Bloomborough is a special case. Well, that's unfortunate. I kind of spoiled the ending there, didn't I? With all that sorting. But yeah, that's the most expensive mythic in the set. So we'll take it. I mean, it's the most expensive non-showcase mythic in the set, so I don't know about the extended or full arts. There's probably more expensive extended or full arts, but that's a great ending to the pack opening. So for now, we've got Neglected Manor here, Razor Trap Gorge, Say Its Name, draft me some Altanac nonsense, Clockwork Percussionist, Etched Cornfield, Patch Plaything, Disturbing Mirth, Unnerving Grasp, and now rares. Nope, one more uncommon. Painter Studio Defaced Gallery. And then, oh yeah, the foil full art. The Jolly Balloon Man foil is our first rare. Not a super valuable one, but a fun card nonetheless. Demonic Covenant, what is that? That's from Commander? Yeah, I don't know any of the Commander cards. Kindred Enchantment Demon. It's all about them demons. All right, cool card. Extended art Leyline of Resonance. Good thing this got banned, so it's worthless. Actually, it's not banned in paper. Best of 3 standard, because they were playing it at Worlds. Okay, this might be a couple bucks still. Because it was seeing play in red-green decks at Worlds. I don't know what the banning's about. Is it just best of 1 on Arena or something? I don't know. I know it's banned on Arena, because I got some wild cards for it. Weird. It's always weird when it's like banned on Arena, but not in paper or one way or the other. We've got an extended art restricted office lecture hall, or I guess this counts as full art because again the art bleeds through the text box. Really cool, but this card is definitely worthless, I imagine. All right, so this pack was really top loaded. Oh, it's foil too. I couldn't even tell. This is kind of hard to tell that it's foil. Oh yeah, this is getting traded in at the LGS. This is turning into like 2 or 3 drafts. I'm just gonna trade this in and be like, yeah, I'm just gonna draft 3 times. So just give me the store credit. All right, well, sick ending to the pack opening, genuinely. This has got to be one of the most valuable pulls you can get. Obviously, in collector boosters, you can get serialized cards and fancy like Japanese versions and stuff like that. So outside of those really corner case things, that's a very good pull. So fantastic way to end the pack opening. So if you were just here for that, thank you very much for watching. You can head out of the video right now, but if you want to hear about some competitive Duskmourn sealed events, we'll talk about how I did there for a few minutes at the end. All right, so here is a look at the deck I played in the MagicCon Vegas 100K Duskmourn sealed event. If you don't know all the rules of that event, it's a very, very competitive Duskmourn sealed event. It's going to be 8 rounds in day 1, and you have to get 6 wins minimum to make it to day 2. So you have to go 6-2 or better. And in terms of the competition, it was very fierce. There were over 1,000 players. I don't know the exact count, but I think it was like near 2,000 players. There was a lot of people in the event. And as such, there were a lot of really excellent sealed pools just when you open up that much, that high of a quantity. And luckily, I did get one of the pretty excellent sealed pools, but also some really fierce competition. A lot of big names in the limited community: Sam Black, Ben Stark, Numat the Nummy, Corticalls, lots and lots of very competitive players and very good players in this event. So even with a really excellent sealed pool like this, there's a lot that can go wrong when you're dealing with that level of competition, and as such, I went 3-3 with this, which was certainly a bit disappointing to me. If you told me on paper that in my first ever big paper competitive limited event, I would go 3-3, I'd be like, all right, cool. Yeah, 3-3 against some fierce competition. But then if you showed me this deck and told me I went 3-3, I'd be pretty disappointed in myself. And I am a little disappointed. I think the first 5 rounds were all very predetermined outcomes. A lot of killing people with Ghostly Dancers and Overlord, or just curving out against slower decks for our wins. And for the losses, I had one opponent turn 3 Zamone me in all 3 games. I managed to beat that one game, but could not hit my curve outs as consistently as they hit like turn 2 Bookworm, turn 3 Zamone. So got crushed by a little better curve out, a little quicker bombs, as mine are like 5 and 6 mana, but Zamone gets things just really rolling off turn 3. So got crushed there. Don't think there was anything I could really do about that. And my second loss was against a blue-white enchantments deck. Game 1, we both had to like mulligan once or twice. So it was a really awkward, slow start for both of us, but they managed to hit like a dissection tools and absolutely demolishing me with that. And I didn't really hit anything that spicy there. So that was an awkward start. And then game 2, after like how slow the first game was, I did have to mulligan again, and I kept a slightly slower hand because I figured, well, they didn't seem like they were curving out all that much, and I really don't want to mulligan to 5. So I kept a hand that was like, God, I don't even remember exactly what it was like. I think it was turn 3 Glassworks and Fear of Being Hunted as the options. And then it had like the Overlord, so it was like 1, 2, 3. It's probably these 3 and 3 lands was the hand. Glassworks, Fear, Being Hunted, Overlord, something like that. And then opponent goes turn 1 Optimistic Scavenger, turn 2 Gremlin Tamer, turn 3 the 2-mana 2/3 flyer that picks up one of your permanents, and it's an enchantment creature, and I'm like, oh my god, I am so dead. So yeah, they curved out every single turn and spent every point of mana, so I just got steamrolled for keeping a slower hand there. So pretty rough round. I really don't think there was anything I could do there, because again, between keeping these and 3 lands or mulliganing to 5, I'm pretty sure I'm supposed to keep these. without knowing what's in my opponent's hand. And I'm also pretty sure almost any 5-card hand would get crushed by the classic draft wombo combo of Scavenger into Gremlin Tamer kind of curve out. So again, those were the first 2 losses. I think those were pretty predetermined. I don't think I did anything super smart or super great in any of the wins either. I think those were also predetermined. But the final round was such a bummer. So my opponent was on a really nice blue-black control deck. Didn't manage to really actually see, I think, any rares from them, but they had an insane amount of removal in the color pair. They had counter spells, they had the 1 mana make something a 0/2, they had murder, they had probably like 10 pieces of interaction in their deck and lots of good card draw to try to grind things out in the long game, and that's generally how things played out. Again, I don't think anything went super wrong in the first 2 games. I won one and lost one pretty naturally. I think both players played it out really well. But then the final game of Magic, what ended up being the final game of the event for me, it was a really, really close one where they had Fear of Infinity popping off the whole game to give them that pocket of life gain to really make sure that they're not quite dead at all times. So the final pivotal moment of this really close, like razor's edge game, trying to outrace this Fear of Infinity, is a turn where I have 5 mana, and I play the Unsettling Twins for 4, and I've got my Shard Mage's Rescue up as my 5th mana. They had like cleared out my board with tons of removal, so this was my board state. It was an Unsettling Twins and a manifested Fear of Missing Out. So this is a face down Fear of Missing Out, and I have full Delirium. So I'm like, if I can just keep this, I definitely kill them. Now keep in mind, all of these thoughts that I'm having are within the span of like 5 seconds. Because I just go Unsettling Twins, see the FOMO, slap it face down, and I say pass turn, holding up Shard Mage's Rescue. Opponent then, again, very quickly, it's an important part to say, because I'm about to say a huge punt here, they very quickly just tap 2 mana, and they say, kill that, slap at a card on the board, they say kill that, pointing at Fear of Missing Out with the card they just slapped on the board, and I immediately just go Shard Mage's Rescue to save that, because I know that if this sticks around, it's definitely going to kill them. And then as soon as I say Shard Mage's Rescue and put the card on the board, I look up, and the card they said kill that with, I think you know where this is going. It was Nowhere to Run, which turns off Hexproof and Ward. So my Shard Mage's Rescue that I slap on my face down 2/2 does not change that outcome at all. Nowhere to Run kills the Fear of Missing Out, and I'm like, okay, that's a real bad punt there, but it all happened so quick that I just didn't realize the card that they were playing. I should have definitely slowed down in a competitive event like this, read all the lines of text as you do. So I'm already pretty bummed about that, but the game is close. I might be able to still get there. From that point on, I play a little slower. I play really tight. But the game ends where one turn I managed to hit them down to 1 life. But they still end up winning in the long run. The game went a lot longer than the turn where I hit them to 1, right? Because I hit them to 1 life, and then they had, the Fear of Infinity lifelinker. They would keep gaining life, and I'd keep hitting them back. They'd keep gaining, I'd keep hitting them back. That went on for some time, but there was a turn after the Shard Mage's Rescue punt. I don't think it was immediately after, but a few turns after, where I managed to put them to 1 life. And had I not discarded my Shard Mage's Rescue for no reason, I would have been able to use this, even though they would have had a Nowhere to Run on board the whole time, so it would have been mostly useless. I would have been able to use it to get 1 extra point of damage in out of nowhere on that turn where I hit them down to 1. So I genuinely, throwing the Shard Mage's Rescue in the grave, punted that match and could have been 4-2 at that time with a chance of getting day 2. So I was really bummed about that. It was just an issue of playing too quickly, not knowing exactly what their card was. I kind of audibled to my line too quickly in my head of like, yeah, this is easy. I've got the 5 mana. I play the twins. I rescue any removal they play. And they just played the one removal spell in the whole format that you can't Shard Mage's rescue. So I need to keep in mind those corner cases and play it a little slower and actually make sure that it's the right play with exactly the card they're playing. Because I was like, yeah, any removal they play, I'll rescue. Nope. Any removal except for that one card. So wait a second, read the card they cast, make sure it's not that one. That was a huge bummer. So went back to the hotel pretty disappointed that day, especially because I had to play 6 rounds. So pretty much spent the whole MagicCon day stuck in this event only to lose it out there in the end. That's always a bummer. Would be better to just go 0-3 right out the bat so that you've got time to go check out all the other MagicCon stuff. So that was a huge bummer. Went home with my tail between my legs there. I certainly failed that one with the Shard Mage's Rescue play, but I was like, you know what? There's a PTQ tomorrow. Might as well try it out. I really, the goal that I had more than anything when I signed up for the PTQ was like, I just want to make up for that punt more than anything. I want to play tight. I want to do everything in my power to take it as far as I can. And if that doesn't end up with me going anywhere, fine. If I open an unplayable sealed pool, if I run into too many bombs, if I get mana screwed or anything, whatever, any kind of variance losses, that's fine. All I want to do, my whole goal, is to just play it out to the best of my ability. Build the best deck I can build, play the best I can play. So that's my goal going into day 2. Well, going into the PTQ, that's my mindset going into the PTQ. And it panned out pretty well for me. So let's look at the PTQ rares that I opened up first, and then we'll look at the deck that I built. So day 2 starts off, and if you've never played a competitive paper sealed event like this, you open up your packs very quickly just to show the person across from you that they are valid packs with the right number of commons, uncommons, rares, and everything, and then you set them face down real quick, and after you've opened all your packs, you pass them over to the person across from you to register your sealed pool. That way they know that nobody's cheating and sneaking cards in. So I'm opening up these packs, and because we got to do it quickly and just put the cards face down, the only thing I can really register is the rares in my head. The only thing that I can think about right now is what rares I got. Let's see what bombs we've got. And I'm opening up these packs, and I'm like, all right, there's a ley line. That's not great. All right, cursed recording doesn't really work in the format. There's too many enchantments, not enough instant sorceries. Oh, that's another ley line. All right. And then I get like one split up. I'm like, okay, so we have one rare so far. And then I open like Grimoire and Marvin, and I'm just like, there's no shot. This sealed pool is so bad. And then I opened up a Roaring Furnace Steaming Sauna, and I'm like, okay, we have 2 playable rares. This is an infinitely weaker sealed pool in terms of the rares by quite a lot. And I stand by. I think this sealed pool was much worse than my first sealed pool. So I'm starting the event off very bummed, but I'm still thinking in my head, I'm like, all right. This is just how the cards fall. It happens. I can still do everything in my power, build the best deck that I can out of this, and play as well as I can in these rounds. And however it goes, whatever happens, happens. If my deck is just too weak, if my sealed pool is too weak, fine, so be it. I did what I could. So still trying to keep a level head about everything, and I get into the deck building. All right, and here's a look at the deck that I built for the PTQ. So there was kind of a lack of good playables in white to go with the split up here, but I saw a lot of solid synergies as well as pretty great uncommons between green and blue. So that got me headed towards the green-blue Manifest Dread direction for multiple reasons. One of the biggest ones is the Oblivious Bookworm. Obviously, it's one of the best uncommons in the format. Being able to draw a card and discard a card every turn is already great for setting up your draws and making sure that you hit the right kind of mana, hit whatever you need. But when you have a lot of cards that manifest dread, and you can turn this into straight up card advantage, it becomes really absurd. And we had a little bit of it here, but again, the Bookworm's so powerful that even without the manifest dread support, it's already going to be great. But we did have manifest dread, as well as Cursed Windbreaker, and Weight Room, and threats around every corner. So some cards to manifest up with the Bookworm on the board, which was pretty great. We're also going to be in this color pair for access to our strongest non-split up rare, which is the Steaming Sauna here, letting us draw an extra card during each end step. And in for a penny, in for a pound, if we're running the Steaming Sauna and we have a little bit of fixing, we should splash a bit of red here. And here I think it was incredibly important, incredibly necessary to this deck, because not only is it going to let us have access to the Roaring Furnace and Steaming Sauna to actually get some removal out of that thing, it's also necessary because the only removal in basically the whole sealed pool was in red, giving us access to Glassworks and Impossible Inferno as well. Without that, this deck would have had just a single copy of Unable to Scream for removal, and that would have been very, very lacking. So a pretty mandatory red splash here, but a lot of great synergies in doing so. We get to have the extra rooms to go with our Ghostly Keybearer, which was probably the #1 MVP for this deck. We only have 4 rooms in the deck, but the play pattern of being able to have a Keybearer on board with a room in your hand is just so powerful. Because if it's one of the 2 removal spell rooms, and your opponent doesn't kill the Keybearer because they have a flying or a reach blocker, then you can just play the removal spell half of the room to clear out their blocker, then attack in and unlock the 5 mana half of the room. So that was incredible with the Keybearer, and that works with the Meat Locker as well, so that was huge. There were a lot of games where we Meat Lockered their big reach or flying blocker, and then hit them with Keybearer and got to draw 3 and discard 1 for free. So Keybearer was honestly, genuinely the MVP of the deck. That card played better than everything except probably Oblivious Bookworm. That was a huge, huge, huge addition here. Being in this color trio gave us access to the best rooms in our sealed pool, and that really got the Ghostly Keybearers going from just a mediocre uncommon to one of the best cards in the deck. And the amount of rooms that we're playing here to go with the Keybearer also makes the Unwilling Vessel play quite above its normal level. In a blue-green deck, normally you would only put this in blue-white, but here we had a bunch of rooms, and all of these are going to be 2 different Eerie triggers for the Vessel over time, as well as some other enchantments like a Threats Around Every Corner and an Unable to Scream and a Glimmerlight token to add to that. So Unwilling Vessel also played pretty well here. For the most part, the rest of the 2-drops were pretty filler. Those are just to really help us survive and get to the point where we can outgrind our opponent with all these rooms, but it was still mandatory to run this many 2-drops because there were so many great aggressive decks here. And when our opponent wasn't aggressive, you know, we could get our own little aggro curves going out and then try to use the rooms to keep their blockers off them. So this deck punched way above its weight class. I think this is a fine deck. I think it's definitely one of the best decks I could have built out of this sealed pool, and I'm very, very happy with the thought and time that I put into building this, because had I just insta-built something, I probably would have went like blue, white, red, have a little bit worse fixing, because there were really no non-basics in the sealed pool. So without the Threats Around Every Corner and the Moldering Gem, the mana gets quite a bit worse. But if I would blue, white, red, I would have all of the strongest cards in the deck, because I could have played the split up then. But going for the green direction, taking this green route here, played really well. And a lot of these cards like Ghostly Keybearers that I'm normally not a huge fan of, and Megalodon and stuff, actually played super, super well in this deck. I mean, I got kills off of throwing Cursed Windbreaker onto Megalodon for a gigantic flying vigilance threat. The Bedhead Beastie looks really weird in a deck with only 2 mountains, especially with a couple Manifest Dread cards. But if we Manifest Dread and end up milling one of our mountains, we can pick it up with Say Its Name, and we used Say Its Name as fixing quite a lot, so picking up a mountain with Say Its Name was a pretty frequent play, and if we don't mill the mountains, we can just draw one of them, and then get the other out of Threats Around Every Corner, or Moldering Gem. So, believe it or not, cast a lot of Bedhead Beasties, and that was also pretty important. We really didn't have much top end outside of the Steaming Sauna, so just dirtily 6-drop finishers played pretty well, and the fact that they're both land cyclers helped us be able to play just 16 lands here to more efficiently or more consistently not get mana flooded or mana screwed, thanks to the help of land cyclers to not get screwed and only 16 lands to not get flooded. So these were really nice. Even the Beastie, even with only 2 mountains, played really well. They also work great with Manifest Dread because we can manifest them face down and maybe end up getting some value there off of a big flip later. So really happy with the deck. It played out super, super well. It was super synergistic, and believe it or not, this deck managed to go 6-0. It was a very intense, very hard-fought battle. I had to make a bunch of notes about my opponent's decks. I had a Pyroclasm in the sideboard, brought that in a couple times, and it played really well when it was important. And yeah, I had to dodge a lot of bullets. There were a lot of rounds that went to 3 games because I got bombed out in one of the games, but the other 2 I managed to grind them and just kind of avoid that bomb. So it was a really close, really hard-fought run. A lot of absolute grindy battles with some really tight plays overall. Fought my way through a deck with Swarm Weaver and the red Courage card. That's how I lost the first game, and I was like, all right, well, I'm out this round. Because they went turn 4 Enduring Courage, which gives all their creatures +2/+0 haste when they play them. And then they followed up with Swarm Weaver, so they haste the Swarm Weaver for 4, and both of the insects for 3 apiece. So that was like just 10 damage out of nowhere. It was disgusting and pretty unstoppable, but I still managed to win out that whole round. Just playing, again, really, really tight. I have so many notes on my life pad and stuff about opponents' decks, about what I should be playing around and stuff like that. And I'm super happy with the performance. Because I went 6-0, I forgot to mention it, but in the PTQ, you actually had to go better than 6-2 to day 2. Some of the 6-2 players would make day 2, but you had to be top 32 out of about 500 players. So only a couple players that were 6-2 would make it into day 2. Really, to make sure you got in, you'd have to go 6-1-1 or better. So just 1 loss and a tie would be good enough. So getting to your 6th win early like this, incredibly important and incredibly helpful, because thanks to the fact that I went 6-0 undefeated early, that means every opponent that I play against in round 7 and round 8 is also very likely to be 6-0, and anyone who's 6-0 at that point can just intentionally draw to make it into the day 2. They get the 2 draws, 6-0 and 2 draws, and makes it into day 2. So that's what I did. I mean, I looked at my deck, I looked at the competition, I know the rares in the format, I know there's Overlords and stuff, I know there's Swarm Weavers, I played against some of them on the way to my 6-0 run, and I am not confident that this deck is on average going to win against another 6-0 deck. The farther we get, the more wins we get in a row, the more likely our opponents are to have great decks or be great players. So I'm taking those intentional draws every time. 6-0-2 was the record for day 1. We make it into the day 2 draft. So I'm really, really happy with this. And this is like, I mean, it's something that I try to do all the time, but it's got a nice little moral to the story, a nice little learning moment here, where don't be super results-oriented thinking. Just put your head to the ground. Just play the best you can. Build the best you can. Just focus on every aspect of the game that you can control, and try not to think so much about, like, oh, this sealed pool just sucks. I'm just going to lose. These rares are awful. I'm going to just drop. Because that was a potential mindset for me. I even made a joke about it on Twitter. I posted the rares and I was like, watch out, everybody. I'm about to 6-0. Go undefeated, destroy you all. And then I did, without the rares. I mean, there's one great rare in this deck, but with a significantly weaker sealed pool than the first run. So, yeah. I'm definitely rambling at this point, but the big moral here is that just do everything you can in your power, and sometimes the things that are out of your power, like how well you draw versus how your opponent draws, if that goes just a little in your favor and you play as tight as possible, you can get there with some weaker decks, some weaker pools, and we absolutely did for 6-0-2 into the day 2 draft, where my mindset was very much the same, and I had a pretty decent draft, got a nice little Rakdos sacrifice deck. However, due to variance reasons that I can't control, I immediately lost round 1. And day 2 draft is single elimination. So what happened there was I mulliganed 3 times out of 2 games total that I got to play. They were forced mulligans. There was a 1-lander. There were 2 1-landers and a 0-lander for the opening hands. And each game I flooded out. I think game 2 I literally only drew lands after my opening hand. And game 1, oh no, it was the other way around. Game 1, I literally exclusively drew lands. And game 2, I flooded out a little bit, and my opponent overlorded me with the white overlord, which is just really unstoppable. So I don't even really think I need to go over that deck, because, oh wow, I don't get to play with the best overlord. Not once in this format did I get to play with it. That's so funny. But yeah, the Overlord of the Mistmore's 4 mana, 2/2/1 flyers, already crushing, and then 4 turns later it attacks and makes 2 more. So yeah, got demolished by that in game 2 after mulliganing twice and flooding out a little bit. And game 1 I just kind of super flooded there. So again, I don't really need to show off the deck list there. That was completely out of my control. Sometimes you have some forced mulligans, sometimes your opponent has some great bombs and stuff. Maybe I could have drafted a slightly better deck, but no matter what deck I drafted, I could have drawn that number of lands and I would have lost those games with those draws with any deck. So pretty sad about that, but not disappointed in terms of like, it is what it is. I did everything I could. We took it as far as we could, and I'm still really happy with the result overall. This was my first PTQ ever. Technically, the qualifier events on Arena are PTQs, so my first paper PTQ ever, and getting to day 2 on my first paper PTQ feels really, really nice. And again, I think I did everything I could. I think that's where the cards just fall for us every time. 6-1-2. 6 wins, 1 loss, and 2 ties for the record out of the entire event. So that is my big rambly spiel about how the MagicCon Vegas events went for me. And that was kind of the entirety of MagicCon Vegas for me, because I played 6 rounds of competitive Magic day 1, 8 rounds of competitive Magic day 2. 2 of them were just intentional draws, but I had to stay in the area to make sure I'd be there when the next round started. I got to wander like a little bit, but not a ton. And then day 3, I got to hang out over in the World's playing area. That's where they were doing the top 32 drafts, which was really cool. But that was most of my day. It was the whole morning, and then the draft takes a while because it's a fully timed draft, and the round takes the round actually took like 30 or 45 minutes, but after the draft you have to like register your whole deck. They have to come take a picture of it. There's a lot of logistics to playing competitive Magic and paper that are just so much easier in digital, so it takes a lot longer than you would think. So I don't think I got done even losing round 1 until like 2 p.m. and the convention closes at 6 p.m. on Sunday. So when I got done with that, I just went and hung out with my dad, who came with me this time around. Went to MagicCon Chicago all alone, but I dragged my dad along to MagicCon Vegas. So after that, I got to go check out his Mystery Booster sealed deck that he was playing with and actually hang out with him a little bit for the weekend, which was nice after, just being alone grinding Magic the entirety of the first 2 days. So I didn't get to really experience too much Magic-Con-y stuff outside of just competitive Magic this time around. I think next time I go to a Magic-Con, I want to find a good balance, because there was a lot of stuff I did at MagicCon Chicago that I really liked doing, but I actually really enjoyed playing competitive paper limited, competitive paper sealed, and it kind of reinvigorated my joy for the format. I've had a lot of issues with sealed lately with play boosters, with the variants that they add to it and everything. But, you know, getting 6-0-2 with a deck like this, with a sealed pool like this, it really did kind of invigorate my joy of the format of like, you can scrap. You can get there with just mainly good uncommons. You know, you don't need the mega bombs that feel unstoppable, and you can beat the mega bombs that feel unstoppable sometimes. Not always, you know, but if you just do everything in your power, you can't be too unhappy with the results. So, again, the day 2 results, even though I went 0-1, I'm not unhappy with it. I got my 2 booster boxes. I got to play at the world's competitive area that's like barricaded off and stuff. That was really cool. I got to draft a timed draft with judges there and everything. That was cool. And I did everything I could. Just drew a little poorly, played against some great cards. It happens. I did everything I could and got to do a lot of cool stuff anyway. So that was the MagicCon weekend for me. A few people came up to me. Thank you very much to everybody who came up and said hi. I do really, really enjoy it. It means a lot as a smaller content creator to be able to put some faces to some names, or even if you never comment, even if you never show up to any of the Twitch streams or anything, it still means a lot to be able to see some actual players that enjoy the videos. So thank you very much to the viewers who showed up, said hello, gave me a fist bump, anything like that. There were a few of you, and that was definitely a pretty nice highlight of the weekend as well. But that's it. That's everything I did outside of, you know, I went to casinos and exclusively lost there. Probably never doing that again. But it was a pretty good weekend overall. The recovery of the day 2 PTQ really, really made it worth it. Making it to day 2 of the PTQ was very, very cool. And I'm excited to do some more of this in the future. So hopefully at future MagicCons, if I ever go to any more, I'll maybe do like just the PTQ event, maybe not the 100K, just like one or the other. And spend the rest of my time still doing fun MagicCon stuff. I'm very, very into watching Magic the Gathering content, so not being able to go to the creator corner at all or check out any of the panels and stuff was a little bit of a bummer for me this time around, because I definitely like going to meet and greets and stuff and seeing my favorite streamers and YouTubers and everything. Didn't get to meet Nummy. I was very busy the whole time. He was in the same event as me, but the rounds where I wasn't busy and I was like running around looking around for him, I just couldn't. I mean, there were like 500 rounds going on at all times, 500 matches. And I'm like, he's a needle in a haystack, man. I don't know where he's at. And then when he was in the Creator Central doing his meet and greet, I was in the day 2 draft, so I was busy. But yeah, that's definitely part of the bummer. MagicCon Chicago, I got to meet a lot of cool people. And there was a little less of that this time around. But I'm getting incredibly rambly, but I assume at the very end of the video, anybody who doesn't want to hear rambles has left by now. But let's finally wrap this thing up and get this video up to you all, because it's going to be super late for today's daily video. So, yeah, thank you especially much for watching if you stuck around this long, if you wanted to hear me ramble about MagicCon Vegas, but that's going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for helping to support the channel, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed this video and you're looking to see some more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send some more in your recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below. And if you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. But other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.